I'm going to bring onto the stage someone who's been on the show before, and he's an amazing guest and an amazing storyteller. John Kiriakou is the only person to go to prison over the CIA torture program, which he blew the whistle on. He's a former CIA analyst and case officer, a Penn USA Award winner and best-selling author, and he's the co-host of Political Misfits and writes at johnkiriakou.substack.com. So welcome, John.
Thank you so much. Good to be back.
Thank you for coming. Everyone's very excited to have you on.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
So much to talk about. Let's start off with that story that I talked about with Professor Horn, the indictment of 3 Russian citizens and 4 U.S. citizens who have been accused of, and I quote, weaponizing free speech. Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service allegedly weaponized our First Amendment rights, freedoms Russia denies its own citizens, to divide Americans and interfere in elections in the United States, said Assistant Attorney General Matthew G. Olson of the Justice Department's National Security Division. So that's what apparently Russia is doing. They are weaponizing our First Amendment rights.
Right.
Which kind of sounds like you're criminalizing the First Amendment, United States Justice Department.
Crazy. It says also in this indictment, today's announcement paints a harrowing picture of Russian government actions and the lengths to which the FSB will go to interfere with our elections, sow discord in our nation, and ultimately recruit U.S. citizens to their efforts. You know what? In the interest of transparency, I have a show every day from 12 to 2 on Sputnik Radio. And I didn't approach the Russians to work at Sputnik. They approached me, and I turned them down. This was in very early 2017. And about 6 months later, they came back and they said, "We'd really like to give you your own show on Sputnik Radio." And I said, "Well, listen, if I do a show like this, I would want the freedom to say anything that I want, and to criticize anybody that I want, including Vladimir Putin, if it were to come to that." And they said, "Done." And I said, "Really? Are you willing to put that in writing? Like put it in the contract?" "Done." And they did. And just as an example, on the day that Russian forces crossed the border into Ukraine, I said, "I unreservedly condemn the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and I would hope that the Russians would withdraw their troops immediately." And then we got along with the show. So if the FBI wants to talk about criminalizing free speech, maybe we should look instead at the Espionage Act and the way it's used as a cudgel to beat people down who want to exercise free speech by calling out government waste, fraud, abuse, or illegalities. But they don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane because it's basically the allegation is that these people are doing these things, taking the positions that they're taking, making the speeches that they're taking, not because they believe in it, right, not because they have decades-long histories of being radicals and Pan-Africanists and internationalists, but because they're being paid by the Russians.
Right. Right.
And the other thing that's so ridiculous about this is that anything that is critical of the U.S. will definitionally be in the best interest of the Russian government, just like anything that's critical of the Russian government will definitionally be in the best interest of the U.S. So anyone who's critical of the United States, by that definition, is a Russian asset.
It's hilarious, isn't it? And it's ridiculous at the same time. And let's look at exactly what this allegation is. This is what's called a process crime, right? It's an administrative felony. And if you look at the sentencing guidelines that are posted on the Justice Department's website, conviction for committing this crime, failure to register as a foreign agent, the recommended sentence is 0 to 6 months in a minimum security work camp. It's not even worth prosecuting. You know, you have to ask, is our country going to be safer by prosecuting this crime? Is society going to be better? Are we going to be a better and stronger country by locking these people up because they neglected to go to the Justice Department's website to fill out a form? That's what this crime is. The allegation is that these people didn't go to the Justice Department's website to fill out a form. You know, Katie, about 15 years ago, I was hired on a short-term contract by the U.S. Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce. They hired me to write 4 op-eds. So I wrote 4 op-eds, 700 words apiece. And I had to go to the Justice Department's website, to the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA website. And I said, my name's John Kiriakou, and here's my address, and here's my phone number. And I accepted X amount of money to write 4 op-eds. And then you attach the op-eds. Okay, that's it. Did it really matter? Did anybody, I won't even ask if anybody ever read my op-eds. Did anybody ever bother to read the form that I filled out? And so you're going to tell us that these people endangered American society and endangered American politics because they had an opinion that didn't fit in nice and neatly with the Justice Department's opinion on whatever issue. And so we're going to prosecute them on felony charges? This is outrageous. It's a waste of resources.
And Omali Yeshitela is 81 years old, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's just so funny because they're trying to present Russia as authoritarian. And what are they doing here with literal speech and dissent?
Well, you know, and I'll give you another example. Maria Butina, who was in the news a couple of years ago, she was convicted of violating this same law, failure to register as a foreign agent. And again, that sentencing guideline is 0 to 6 months. Not only did she get 18 months for failing to register, but she spent the entire 18 months in solitary confinement. And then we are outraged when the Republicans, sorry, Freudian, when the Russians arrest an American citizen and hold them on similarly silly and oftentimes trumped up charges, which is what these are.